Boy, Ricky Rivera, we met up with Jonathan a few months ago.
That's right.
We were discussing because I'm an international speaker, and I was really humbled when you said, "Ricky, you're an international speaker. I'm a host. We have synergies together." You know, that struck me a lot because I'm saying we were then in that meeting. We wanted to bring the Filipino talent to the global stage, and here's a boy Abunda that everybody gets to. I idolize you, but when you said, no, Ricky, there are things you do, I'm not just doing. That's why I told my mom right away about it. She's 85, and I love my mom. Okay.
Thank you.
And my question is this. How does a boy Abunda, because you were then very excited to also join us in bringing the Filipino talent to the international stage, how does a boy Abunda find time, despite everything you're doing? And we really appreciate it. You know, we're bringing the Filipino and Asian talent to the international stage. But how does a boy Abunda also fit that into your busy schedule?
Ricky is a challenge, and thank you for being here.
Oh, supportive.
Thank you for
Very,
being
very supportive.
Thank you. Means a lot to me. You have to find time, but I will be lying if I say that it's easy. It's daunting to fix my schedule, but I have so much faith in the Filipino public speaker. You know that I keynoted the Singapore conference of the Asian professional speakers, and just a while ago, Kim Hernandez and I were talking about Anthony Sinek,
Oh, okay.
and everything that's happening around the world about public speakers. The Filipino is one of the best in the world. So how do I find time? That again is one of the things that I'd like to pursue in the next few years. I'd like to go into training of public speakers. I'd like to go into training of hosts. I'd like to be better. I'd like to learn more. And I'd like to encourage the Filipino speakers to help each other find commonalities more than the differences. It was Clinton who once said that, yes, our differences matter, but our common humanity and our commonalities will always be more important. So I think together we will be a lot stronger. And I love our conversation. Guys, you know what you should do in the industry? Converse, do dinners together, exchange ideas, and be open. Be open to agreeable and disagreeable opinions, because that's how we all learn. That's what Ricky and friends, and that's what we did that
Right,
night.
exactly.
We talked about what we do. So I should find more time for my public speaking career, and yours too.
And I totally agree. We started at around 8 in the evening.
And we finished
And
by...
I had to be the one to say, boy, it's already 2 o'clock in the morning. But I really, we welcome you. We're doing speakerships in all over the world, but definitely the Filipino together, we get to be stronger. I told my sister also about you, the first global Asian Filipina president.
Maraming
Let's make the
salamat.
Filipino proud.
Ricky is one of the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat.
Thank you. Yes, our next, hello Tito Boy and hello
Hi.
everyone. Yes, your name? I'm Kylie. I'm a digital marketer. My question is more on the futuristic trends. Have you ever considered creating your own online show? Because you were always talking about extending your legacy, right? And there are a lot of new celebrities online. So I'm really curious if you are also gearing towards creating online shows as well.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And that is a world that totally excites me. I'd like to be able to shift the conversation to how we can use digital, how we can use technology to better ourselves. There is this pervading notion that online activities, platforms, that the net is for wild conversations and bashing and hating. I'd like to be able to do my share, and yes, do something digitally. I am so attracted to the pungent smell of anything that is viral. Because kung dati yung conversation was, what makes a certain thing buzzable? I'm a marketing student. I'm a branding student. I'd like to see and explore what makes what are the elements that make something viral in the context of Filipino culture? Gusto kong pasukin yun. Yes.
Very exciting yan. We're looking forward to the digital marketing world.
Maraming salamat.
Yes, and Tito Boy is growing his own official Facebook account.
That's Boy Abunda Official.
Yes, so i-follow niyo na yun. Yes, your name is?
I'm Jane Loreto po.
Jane.
I'm a student of Communication Arts in here in college. I would like to ask po, in this day and age, a lot of young professionals already excelling in their respective fields. What tip can you give us, especially to us, young communication and media practitioners who themselves think that they don't have the edge yet and somehow are already feeling hopeless, of how they can excel and stand out knowing that it's a very competitive field?
I love that question, and this is an answer for all of you and for you guys. You're my talents, but this is a bit. I'll shorten it to the best I can. It is important that you're connected to who you are, but it doesn't happen in a minute. But you have to be able to answer the question at one point in your life: who am I? That's very important. And these are not original questions. These are Angelo and Oprah and all the motivational speakers. It's important to say, sino ba ako? Ano ba ang gusto ko? Ano ba ang gusto ko? Sino ba ako? There's a favorite, kasi excellence can only be achieved, ang aking paniniwala, if it comes from within. If sabi nga ni Oprah, diba, it's preparation meeting opportunities. That luck is the residue of design, that you have to hard work. Steve Jobs is a different line, you have to follow your heart and your instinct, etc. There's so many adages and sayings. Confucius is another thing. The common thing that I am hearing, and the common thing that I am learning, is that it is important to know who you are. Okay, I'll put it very simply. It was not easy for me to get to where I am today. And where I am is a good place. I am journey in progress. I am work in progress. There was a time in my life when I was made to believe by external forces that to be gay was abnormal. So I discussed it in my book that I've always wanted to be normal. People said you have to play basketball para normal ka. You have to like young girls para normal ka. Diba? I did all those, but believing that if I didn't do what they wanted me to do, I would be abnormal. Of course, I realized I am as normal as anybody else. There was a time that, just a couple of years ago, there were aspersions that Boy Abunda has friends and relationships because he buys them. There was a time when Dr. Steve Marcan fought with one of his suppliers because he said, why do you have an endorser like Boy Abunda who has an imperfect set of teeth? There was another person who said, why am I endorsing a beauty clinic when I am not Miss Universe Beauty? When I was starting television, somebody told me, it's going to be tough for you. You're not going to do television as best as you expect yourself to do. Why? Because you have an accent, waray ka, may punto ka. Number two, because you're gay. If you want to be a top rated, if you want to be an A-lister as a host, you cannot be gay. You're supposed to be punchlines. You're supposed to be comedic. Number three, hindi ka masyadong kagandahan. Why am I saying all these things? Because for the longest time, I was so afraid. I was so afraid to be me. Because me was lacking. Me was not good enough. Because I was paying so much attention to external voices. And I was missing out on the voices of people who love me. I was missing out on people who meant well. I was missing out on my internal voice. I was not listening to the whisper. I was not listening. I was not listening to myself saying, hey, you are okay. Hindi ka man maputi, hindi man matangos ang ilong mo, but you are okay. You're special. You can be extraordinary. Only then can you talk about excellence. So if your question is, what is the journey like to be the best? Start from where it matters the most. and it is within you. It is in the heart. And that story begins there. That is your truth. Protect it, and don't ever allow anyone to steal that.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Tito Boy.
Hi, what's your name?
Ben.
Ben, go ahead.
Hi, Tito. I work in Aqua Asia Pacific. I just wanna ask, kasi si Tito Boy Tito Boy is always Tito Boy. So, what made you decide na gumawa ng ganitong libro? Sobrang busy mo. Nagmamanage ka ng mga talent. May business ka, sabi nga nila. May family ka, ang dami mong friends. Kasi pag sinasabi natin publicity, no. Kasi sikat ka na eh. Sabi ko nga, Tito Boy is always a Tito Boy. Ikaw na yan eh. But what I'm trying to pertain, aside sa mga experiences mo, kasi nasa book eh. Actually, invited lang ako ng friend ko na bumili from America. So, natanong ko lang, kasi na-curious ako, Tito Boy ka nga, maganito ang libro, hindi siya kamahal, amin natin. Affordable yung book mo, which is anyone can buy. Kaya na-curious lang ako, kaya nga, hindi ako kasi gusto kong matanong sa'yo mismo na, paano mo siya na-push? Paano, aside sa mga, yun nga, yung sa family mo, yung sa nanay mo, obviously sa nanay mo kasi love mo yung nanay mo. Pero, bakit may ganito? Bakit may ganitong libro si Tito Boy?
Una, nais ko magpasalamat sa ABS-CBN Publishing. Mark, Alex, you guys were there from the very beginning. I'd like to pay tribute to Bems Benedito. Bems is my managing director of the Make Another Proud Foundation. Alam niyo po, during times when I wanted to give up because it's not easy to write a book. You know, one of the toughest stages in writing a book is editing it, deciding what to put in, deciding what to edit. Bems was there connecting the threads when I wanted to give up because I was doing a lot of things. Tama ka, ang dami kong trabaho. But why did I find time? It took a long time. You know, isinantabi ko na ito. Sabi ko, I'll probably do this and a couple of these because I have 3 books. It's a trilogy. But why did I do it? And thank you, Bems. I've not been able to publicly say thank you to Bems Benedito, who was responsible for putting us on track every time we get lost, and the immeasurable support of Mark Yambon, the patience of Alex. Maraming salamat. I didn't do it alone. But why did I decide to do it? Wala talagang deliberate, scientific, strategic planning that I needed to do this book because I needed it for something. There was no reason. It happened. Sabi ko nga in one of my interviews, I simply cooperated. It was there. But in retrospect, when you ask me now as to why I wrote the book, ang aking isinasagot ngayon, and this is the first public interview I'm doing, because I have to tell my story. I have to tell my story. And by doing so, I am hoping that I would be able to touch 1 or 2 lives who would come to me and say, hey, my son has become a better son. I have decided to pay more attention to my mother. Remember, this book is not perfect. I'll be very honest. This is my first book. Backstage, I was talking to Jelly, to Nini, and I was saying, there are about 6, 7 grammatical, typographical errors in the book. I take full responsibility. You know, but I said, please be more mindful of the spirit behind the words and behind the lines. I needed to tell this story because I want my readers to know that you too have the right to write your story, to tell your story in whatever platform, because I want you to be proud of your story. For the longest time, I was not proud. I was afraid to tell my story. I was afraid to be me. By writing this book, I'm hoping to be able to deliver the message that it is okay, because your story is extraordinary, because it is your story. It is your core. It is your truth. Kaya pag binabasa mo ang librong ganito, sabi ko nga, pag napaisip ka na, parang meron tong kasing tunog sa buhay ko, then I have achieved something. How did I find time? I worked until 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock. I copy-read this book many times over. I hired friends. Bems copy-read it many times over. We just worked hard. But again, balancing is really tough. I don't know how I did it. I prayed to God and I said, Lord, I surrender this to you. And it happened.
Thank you, Tito Boy.